The following is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. First off, y'all, Merry Christmas. So, wow, over 400 subscribers. Thanks, Deadites. I've been working on this for a while and thought I'd man up and release this. Now, before we start, pretty sure I've made my age evident. I grew up on the X-Men cartoon and also Evolutions, but we're gonna do an amalgamation type deal with this. But yeah, let's get started. Like usual, I'm gonna take liberties with Deku's father, and to make this work, change Inko's quirk entirely. Inko is going to have a regeneration quirk, and the father is going to have the claw and beast-like quirk. Now, on to the story. Izuku's father is a scientist by the name of Vincent Creed. Hopefully there are some fans here that spotted that. But said father had been missing for over a month. Mitsuki had won a cruise for a family of 4 and invited Inko and suggested she bring Izuku with her. Since, well, what else was going to happen? They could use the fun to distract themselves. Izuku is 4 years old at this point, and no teasing since he had his quirk since he was 3. Izuku possessed bone claws that were far stronger than his father's, as well as animalistically keen senses. Both Inko and Vincent were amazed that his claws could cleave through the thickest of wood and shear moderate stone. They broke when he tried to claw through metal, and that's when they discovered his healing factor. It would take Vincent a day to be able to deploy his claws after they had broken, but Izuku was well within the hour. His claws were one thing. Other limbs such as legs and arms and other types of deals would take about a day or more depending on the severity of the break. The point is, the whole Deku thing never really happened since he has a pretty badass quirk. Mitsuki's idea was to have Katsuki play with Izuku while she helped Inko relax. That was the plan, at least. The ship gets hit by a freak storm out of the nowhere. "It was supposed to be clear skies here!" a crewman yells. "Well, apparently the weather decided otherwise," howls the captain. "Attention everyone. Please return to your rooms or the closest sealed area. We've hit a bad storm." Unfortunately, this is where people panic and a specific set of parents and children get separated. Inko and Mitsuki look for their children in a frenzy. Mitsuki is the first to collect herself. The ship gets hit by a massive wave, and Katsuki gets thrown to the side. As the wave becomes visible, Izuku sprints to Katsuki and manages to grab a passed-out Katsuki and drag him to the cockpit of the ship. The crewman grabs Katsuki, but before Izuku can get in, he gets carried away by the current. He goes under a few times. Izuku knows full well that he can't come back from being drowned. He also knows how long that would take and would power through whatever it took to see his mommy again. The ship was long gone, and they wouldn't risk everyone else to come and look for him in this. As if on cue, a piece of flotsam would... As on cue, a piece of flotsam enters. It would do to keep him afloat. It was not big enough to keep him out of the water, however. He knew this was gonna be a pain in his side. The water is really cold, not freezing level, but just really damn cold. He knows full well that he can't get hypothermia since his body would heal long before those signs showed up, but this wasn't going to be fun for him. I really don't want to write how long he has to suffer for, but he's floating for months. For a while he had to resort to eating pieces of himself, like some of his left arm, in order to survive. They'd heal, and he'd repeat the process as needed until sharks and fish came along. Izuku didn't have much choice. He ate any food he'd find raw and be happy for it. He would upgrade to a bigger piece of driftwood after the first full week. After what Izuku thought was month 3, he found an island and quickly made his way for it. The island had a watchtower, though.
Head to the beach. We've got a drifter. Take the doctor with you. Looks like a child.
The man on the other end of the radio stammered.
A child? Good lord. We'll go.
The man drove a convoy to the coordinates given, and surely enough, it was a child. Turn the poor thing over. I need to see what I'm working with. The man next to the doctor complied, and what the doctor saw next would shake him to his core. Izuku? How? The doctor said under his breath, "You'll know this boy, doctor." A young man said in a Russian accent, "Yes, Peter, I do. This is Izuku Logan Creed, my son." The young man went to pick him up. "That won't be necessary. Izuku has multiple quirks in him, one of which being a godly level healing factor. Give him a minute. He most likely hit his head on a rock." Izuku started to come to, and after that statement, Peter said something along the lines of, "Good Lord." Vincent was happy to see his boy and sad that he was now on Genosha. "Yes, I went there. Wanted to do something different." He would do the best he could to keep his son out of that horrible Weapon X initiative, but he would never be allowed to leave now that he's here. This is his world now. Skip forward 5 years, and Izuku has gone through the process. Oh dear God, I'm such an a-hole for making a 9-year-old go through the adamantium procedure. Sorry about that. I had to prove that I still had a heart. During this time on Genosha, Vincent discovered that Izuku had gained some sort of feral mode. It must have been a part of his beast-like mutation quirk. Feral mode was a defense mechanism that was rarely used, but in doing so, Izuku could forego pain and show bursts of reckless strength for a short amount of time. Said pain would hit him when he came back to his senses, and could cripple him should he be sent on a mission. Healing factor doesn't really help with phantom pain, now does it? Izuku can power through, but it's tough. Izuku has been on a few missions already, even before the procedure. Cut to a scene within the Creed estate. That's right, I said estate. The father and son are bringing in a substantial amount of revenue and renowned for the Weapon X initiative, so that's why they have it. "Father, we have to go through with the plan. I mean it. Trask sees us as nothing more than tools. I have a group ready to take this place." Vincent chuckled. "Son, we must bide our time. and strike when the moment is right. Izuku was gung-ho about attaining their freedom, but his father was correct. This was about more than just the creed, father and son. If this went wrong, multiple people would suffer. Izuku would later tell his people to be patient. Peter is one of those people. Izuku had risen above him to become a team leader of sorts. An odd individual could be seen entering the estate from above by you and only you. He didn't catch the conversation. All he got from that was the doc was hiding something. Said individual left unnoticed, or so he thought. Both Vincent and Izuku smelled something odd, but discounted it. Toad informed Trask as much. Well done, Mr. Talansky. Well done. I will extract whatever it is that the doctor is hiding from me. Normally, he would just be able to use the boy as a threat, but Wolverine has proven himself far too valuable, and causing him permanent harm was nigh impossible, and attempting to do so would likely end poorly for him. Trask is no fool. He's seen how much sway Wolverine has with the rest of Weapon X team. Trask goes to collect Vincent when the Weapon X team was sent out on mission. The team consisted of Wolverine, Colossus, Deadpool, Domino, and Gambit. Yes, I know only 2 of those people had anything to do with Weapon X directly. Or at least the canon Weapon X, or one of the canon Weapon X's. Now, as far as Gambit goes, I'm gonna say he was caught unawares by Izuku and Peter since he was trying to sneak in and do his job that he was hired by Sinister to do. Of course, he didn't know it was Sinister, but you get the point. And he was sneaking in while Wade and Domino were having a little fun, if you catch my drift. This may make a few people happy and a few people angry. No horrendous scars from Mr. Wilson. He just looks like a normal Ryan Reynolds. He still has everything, however. Ajax was working on control towers, but fell mysteriously ill, and his research was, well, destroyed, and he was replaced by, well, a certain shapeshifter. We'll get to that in a minute. Izuku was having none of that, like I said, and replaced him with a specific shapeshifter. But back to the point. Trask was flat out torturing Vincent, and he was giving him nothing, because he knew nothing. The entire plan was Izuku's, and by Vincent's command, he kept him out of the loop. He saw this coming. Dr. Creed did not survive. Frack! Clean this mess up, and make it look like he was killed by someone else. However, the individual he thought to be the real Ajax knocked him out. I was going to go with Morph, but this works to make the story more interesting. That was for the doctor, asshole. Mystique knew she couldn't stop Trask from doing what he had done without blowing her cover and being on that table with him. Trask knew many things, but he had no idea there was a shapeshifter on the island. When the crew returned, Wolverine decapitated Trask and went about freeing other prisoners who aided in killing the personnel of the island. The island was now theirs. However, they had to dismantle the Weapon X program as a whole. Thanks for allowing me this honor, Raven. Alright, guys. You have 2 choices. Go home, or help me destroy this damn program. The majority of them chose that to go home. However, a handful choose to destroy the program. Now, they're not naive. They're not going to try to go home now. Wow. Weapon X is still technically strong. This was just one site. So they're going to remain and aid the team in ways, whatever way they can, from the safety of the island. What you gonna do now, Izuku? Gambit asked. Izuku is dead, Gambit. There is only Logan Creed, the Wolverine. Logan drew his claws, and cries of excitement for those who chose to be rallied could be heard. Like I said, these people aren't naive enough to think that they're going home immediately. That's not happening. Genosha would now serve as a base for this newly formed X-Force, ran by Wolverine. Fast forward 3 more years to see Wolverine and his X-Force being praised as heroes for ending an international kidnapping and enslavement ring. Weapon X would be considered a title given to each of those heroes from their respective nations. So as far as the suit for Wolverine and subsequently the rest of the X-Force, we're going with Ultimate X-Men approach. However, in Wolverine's case, he's going to get a mask. He's not ready to see his mother quite yet. Speaking of which, Inko remarried, and the person she married, All Might, who in this instance did not receive his wound. This happened when the X-Force was, well, free. Now, like I said, the wound's not going to happen because Wolverine just straight up kills all for one. Now, some of you may be thinking, but what about the My Hero? Calm down. Remember, this is an amalgamation world and Marvel has plenty of baddies to spare. We do not need all for one. But less foreshadowing and back to Logan, yeah? He could smell Inko all over Toshinori and wasn't going to let her lose another family member, which is why he did what he did. And now this happened when he was 10. No, when he was 12. Speaking of All Might and Inko had 2 other kids, only one of which is All Might's progeny. Now, the two kept meeting, and eventually Logan gets forced by his teammates to take his offer for dinner. The entire team was going. Alright, y'all. Here's my finished X-Force. Wolverine, Colossus, Deadpool, Domino, Mystique, Gambit, Negasonic, and Yukio. And yes, I mean movie Negasonic, not comic one. Logan almost turned tail and ran, but the door was opened by a little cutie pie named Rena Creed. Comic fans would recognize her as Rena Logan, Wild Thing from the MC2 universe, which spawned from, well, a What If comic. Rena was sniffing Logan something fierce. Rena, it's not polite to sniff people like that, especially when you don't know who they are. Inko chastised her daughter. But Mommy, I do know who this is. He's my Oni-chan. Aren't you, Izuku? You smell kinda like me. Inko went to slap her daughter when Logan instinctively put claws in her way. Toshinori was not pleased that Logan was threatening his wife. Stay out of this, bub. This is Creed business, he said in his Wolverine voice. As he finished saying that, he removed his mask to reveal his face. Hi, Mom. Inko fainted and Toshinori caught her. At first, he thought this was some cruel trick by Mystique, but she was on Logan's left flank. Nana, go get the smelling salts. And you, we are going to have a long talk once she wakes up, Izuku. Logan corrected Toshinori. He knew better. That dinner was both touching and awkward as hell. What you think, Deadites?